Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros, and this is a little space I like to carve out to share different tips, tools, techniques, nuggets, stories, anecdotes, different things that we can do individually and collectively to move the needle, even if it's 1 degree at a time, to new levels of healthy and happy for ourselves, and then for our families, and then for our communities, and then for and for and for, right? But all things begin and end here, so we always start here first. Rather than ask someone else to be different in order for me to feel happy or to find peace, I have to figure out how to return to a space of happiness and peace here, so that not only am I leading by example, but I'm no longer surrendering my power to the other person, saying you now have the opportunity to dictate how I show up and manage what's happening in here, right? So it's a really powerful way to come back to the self. This month, we are talking about ways to manage time. And the words time management have been really funny to me. The more that I learn about quantum physics and the more that I learn about physics in general and the time-space continuum, I know that sounds weird. I love Marvel, but I'm not talking about Marvel. I'm talking about literally, how do you manage time? That's not a thing, right? You can manage your households because there's all these moving parts and you get to decide what goes where and how and what order and how much. That's managing. You can manage a team because this person's strengths is this, so you can operate in their strengths and so on and so forth. But when it comes to time management, it's pretty structured. There's nothing to manage. The management is actually here because the structured time does not waver. It is 24 hours in a day. It is 7 days a week. It is 12 months a year. It is 365 days a year, right? Like that is a very structured, it is what it is. There's no managing of that. What the management that needs to happen is actually us. It's here. And then we can decide how we move in the space of this very structured, linear, non-moving thing, right? So the first week, and I'll post the video at the end of this video, I talked about really understanding what our priorities are. And when we can anchor into our priorities, we can then anchor our thoughts to there. We can speak to that place. We can make decisions from that place. We can take action from that place. And understanding that a lot of times what we say are our priorities and what we're actually investing our structured time and energy and money into don't line up. And so a lot of people feel disconnected, unfulfilled, unsatisfied, and incongruent because what you're saying is a priority and what you're actually prioritizing don't line up. And the goal here is to try to help us create pockets and spaces and techniques and use things that can help us really use time to our advantage so that we're creating a life that we want and hopefully a life that we love. Aligning our priorities with what we're actually doing, becoming more congruent in life. So that was the first week video. Last week, we talked about the importance of chunking it down. When we have really big to-dos and really big priorities, it seems really overwhelming, and a lot of people will then do nothing because that big to-do feels really overwhelming. Well, then one of the techniques that you can do is create small pockets of time or create a to-do list and check it off one at a time. If you're writing a book, when I wrote my book, I wrote it in 30-minute increments at night after I put my daughter to bed. Toni Morrison, and I got that inspiration from Toni Morrison because she wrote Beloved in 10 to 15-minute windows every morning before she woke up her kids to go to school and to get herself ready for work. We can find ways to create pockets of time and say, if this is a priority to me, I have to back that up with my time and energy, even if it's a small amount. 10 minutes is not a lot. 30 minutes is not crazy amounts of time, but it's significant in chipping away at the big goal so that we're actually achieving the thing that we want to achieve or doing the thing we want to do or making time for the things that we want to make time for. So this week I want to talk to you about chunking it down. I mean, that was last week. Sorry, chunking it down. This week I want to talk to you about creating blocks of time. So when we're chunking it down, that's great. You say, I'm going to dedicate 30 minutes today to doing that. Good. When? That's a really important question. When are you going to do it? Because to just let it unfold organically, if that was the case, it would have already happened. And we know that that's not real. So what we have to do is get really intentional about, here's the structure. I know that in this space I'm working, and in this space I'm with my daughter, and in this space I'm teaching at the gym, and in this space I'm writing my book, and in this space, right? So I have these blocks of time that I'm dedicating to these priorities in my life. And then if I say, okay, I want to add this thing, when are you going to do it? What is the block of time by which you are going to add that piece or that priority or that chunk of that goal, right? When are you going to do it? Get really, really clear about this. And one of the things that I have found with myself and with my clients is that when they say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do that twice this week. Fantastic. When? And they go, what, really? Yeah, let's put it on the calendar right now. And so then they put it on their calendar. And because they said, okay, Tuesday and Thursday, I know that I have a slower morning, so I can dedicate 30 minutes here and 30 minutes here to just chipping away at that thing and doing it again with the understanding that those 30 minutes might not be enough to finally solve the thing or complete the task, but it's chipping away. You are being committed and intentional about chipping away at the thing. And then if every time you do it, you give yourself a little celebration, ow, ow, then you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. I'm moving the needle. I'm getting it done. And that is one of the ways that we can manage our time in the structure of time that exists. Create a block. Be intentional. When are you going to do it? When I wrote my book, it was 9:30 every night. My daughter went to bed at 8:30. I got to take a shower. I got to prep my food or whatever, my clothes for the next day of work or whatever, get my stuff all set up. And then 9:30, boom, booty in a chair. I not only put it on my calendar, but I set an alarm. And the alarm was this really soft, melodic, beautiful thing that was like, bling, 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 bling. And I was like, yes, oh, it's time to write. And then I created the structure for myself where I no longer needed the alarm, but I needed it initially to create the structure. And then eventually I no longer needed it. I would do my thing. And then I thought, oh, I think it's about 9:30. And I'll look at the clock. Sure enough, 9:28. Okay, put my butt in a chair, and my job right here for 30 minutes is to write. And if I had more time, more energy, and I didn't have to get up like super early or whatever the case may be, that was never the case. Let's say a Friday night, I didn't have to get up super early for a Saturday morning or something. Then I had more room, I would give myself more room to write, but at least I was getting it done in these small chunks. So we want to chunk it down, but then we really want to get clear about blocking that time and dedicating that time to that thing, which means that when we sit down to do that, we kind of block out everything else, except for, of course, children. Like, they kind of need us, right, to survive, which is why I did it when I knew she was in bed and she was good and she was settled and she was sleeping. It also gave me a little window after I put her to bed. If she needed to get up to pee or get a drink of water, fine. I'm not trying to go from putting her to bed to this. I recognize that there's some margin in there, which gave me time, like I said, to set myself up for the next day. So then when I'm done with my writing and the alarm goes off and I wrote for 30 minutes, if I'm ready for bed, go brush my teeth and go to bed, right? Easy breezy. And at least I got it done. Go me. Little bits at a time. Sometimes that also means that I needed to move my phone. And it also meant that I needed to dedicate myself to just writing, which can be a practice too. If you are a TikTok stroller or an Instagram stroller, it would blow your mind how many hours a day people spend. I mean, it wouldn't, maybe you know it because your phones tell you how much time you spend on social media. And imagine how much time of that time you could use dedicated to creating the life that you want or doing the things you want to do. Even if you just took some of that, imagine how much more productive. Even if by productive, it was like, I'm getting my butt to bed earlier. Good. Chunk it down. Block the time. Put an alarm. Put it on the calendar. Make it happen. Make it real. Right? That's what I have for you. I hope that this was helpful. If you know someone who can benefit from this, please send them the video because sharing is caring. I'm sending you so much light and love and peace and joy, and I hope that things are going well for you right now. And if you have any questions about this or anything else that we talk about, or if you have questions about an upcoming topic or a topic that you would like to know more about, hit me up. I'm sending you all the good juju. There's nothing you can do about it. Peace.